if you're planning to do engineering at the university or at any institution in Kenya, here are 10 things that nobody talks about but are very, very important for you to understand before you embark on that journey to study engineering. This is from experience because I have personally done that journey for 5 good years at the University of Nairobi, and I know what I'm talking about. Welcome to EduSens Africa. I bring you weekly videos about your educational and your career journey to help you understand your options and to enable you get into a career that aligns with you and that will take you to your dreams when it comes to the job you want to get into or to the career you actually want to get into. So I'll go direct to the points. Make sure that you watch to the very end because each of these 10 points are very important and they are hardly spoken about, but they will actually determine whether you'll successfully make it through to the end of your engineering course and if you'll actually land a job and a good paying job at the end of it all. So the first thing you actually need to be aware is that they tell you engineering takes 5 years, but you actually need to plan for 6 to 7 years because there are a lot of strikes that are happening, lecturers striking every single year, almost every single year. You might actually miss a semester and you have to pick it up. And you also have issues with missing papers, missing marks, and you end up spending more than the 5 years they told you about and spending 6 or 7 years. So if you are planning to do engineering in Kenya, think about planning for 6 or 7 years instead of just 5 years so that you are mentally prepared in case any of these things happen. You are not disoriented and you can still pick it up and make it to the end of your course. The second thing you need to be aware about is that not all engineering courses in Kenya are accredited. Before you go to do an engineering course, kindly go and search to find out, is it an accredited engineering course? Will I finish and get the title of engineering once I go to Engineering Board of Kenya? Or is it one of those engineering courses that is just engineering course at the university, but nobody knows about it and the government will not recognize you as a registered engineer once you go through the whole process? Make sure that you do your due diligence, go to Engineering Board of Kenya, search for the particular university, search for the particular course that you want to do to make sure that you are getting into something and at the end of it you are going to get the engineering title, especially if it's very, very important to you. This brings me to the third very important point, that if you want to become an engineer and a registered engineer, it is not as simply as just going into the university, doing the 5 years and then you're a registered engineer. There's a process to it. You must first finish the bachelor's. When you're done, there's another 3 years that you'll actually need to do to be mentored by someone who is in the profession, and you will sit for an examination, pass that examination, pass a specific interview before you can be called a registered and a professional engineer. So if you're thinking you'll just go into the university, do your 5 years, and then at the end of it all you are engineer so and so, that is not how it works. You finish the bachelor's, you go through an examination, you take about 3 years after your bachelor's, and then once you pass everything, you can now become a registered and a recognized engineer. The fourth thing that is very, very important is for you to understand that engineering is not easy. If you used to do maths in high school and people were telling you, if you pass that maths in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, you're going to easily do engineering. Let me tell you, the mathematics in engineering and the physics and all the courses you are going to do, depending on which specific engineering you are going to go into, it is not a walk in the park. You must put in the work. People have made it, but it's not been easy. We have people who've gotten into engineering and unfortunately they did not make it to the end because it was too hard and they dropped out. Some switched because they realized, okay, this is not what I was signing up for, it's not my thing, and they were able to switch. So before you go through that process and maybe end up dropping it or switching, maybe it's important for you to understand what really is your passion. How much do you love mathematics, calculus, physics, or the specific courses that you are going to do, because we understand engineering is different. If you are going to do environmental engineering or geospatial, mechanical, civil, these are all different and you are going to be dealing with different subjects. Apart from the maths, which is the core, there are different other aspects of it. So before you embark on that journey, make sure that you are determined to work hard. You are going to put in the work, you are going to put in the dedication and the energy, and you will not be discouraged before you reach the end of the goal. Now, before I tell you the next important point for you to be aware before you get into engineering, let me tell you a little bit about what I do here at EduSens Africa. Like I already mentioned, I share weekly videos to enable you understand the options that you have when it comes to careers and to help you get into a career that actually aligns with you. If you have a child or if you know someone that is actually confused about what they want to do, maybe they have an idea but they do not have so much clarity, I help such people to get a clearer picture of what they want to do and which options they might actually do. I do this through consultations. I'll be putting my number on your screen. Feel free to reach out to me. We can organize a consultation and I can work with you or your child step by step so that you can choose a course or get into a course that actually aligns with what you're looking for. Which brings me to the fifth thing that people rarely talk about, which is the fact that engineering has become really automated nowadays. And if you're going to go into whichever type of engineering, whether it's chemical, mechanical, civil, you must understand the digital side of things, which actually require you to study coding and to know about computer programming. Initially, long time ago, some people could actually survive through engineering without knowing how to code. But nowadays, with the digital space, with artificial intelligence and a lot of automation happening, coding is actually one important thing that you must understand and you must know how to do when it comes to engineering. So if somebody told you you can go to do engineering but then you don't like programming, you don't like computers, you're not interested in doing any sort of coding, reconsider your decision or try taking up courses in coding and in programming before you can embark on your 5 years journey of doing engineering as a degree. Now let's get into the salary side of things. Many people want to become an engineer because, they know that it pays very well, you are going to be rich, as long as you have the engineering title, you are going to be rich. But nobody tells you that for your first job or when you're just getting into the job market, you will most likely earn between 40,000 to 50,000 shillings, or if it goes so much, your first salary may be between 40,000 to 70,000 Kenyan shillings. So as you can see, after putting in all the work and all the 5 years and your dedication, it's not a lot of money, but then you can be able to grow up the ladder. Now, when it comes to growing up the ladder, the best way to make money when it comes to engineering is by becoming a consultant. Because when you become a consultant, it means you have more experience and your clients are also able to pay you much more than someone who's going to work in the field or someone who's just starting out in the engineering field. So if you want to make money and you're getting into the engineering field, first of all, get in there, get the skills, pass your examinations, and as you get into the job market, try to work yourself up the ladder so that you can become a consultant. Now, the other third thing that people rarely talk about is that it is actually possible for you to tarmac as an engineer. Yes, guys, the truth of the matter is that currently in Kenya, there's a lot of unemployment, high rates of unemployment, and we even have people who are engineers. They've done 5 years from school, but they've ended up being unemployed. 1 year, 2 years down the line, some of them are still looking for jobs. So if you think that when you get into engineering, automatically you're going to get a job, you need to realize that you must do something more and you must prepare yourself mentally to know that jobs are not so much out there, but there are things that you can do for you to be able to actually get a job and not tarmac for so long. I have shared several videos with tips of how you can actually get a job. Just go through my channel and watch some of these videos, because in each and every video I share, I give you tips of what you can do to try to avoid some of the problems that are there in the job market or when it comes to employment in our Kenyan market. So if you're doing engineering as well, be aware that it's possible for you to tarmac, and there are things that you must do as you study and even when you finish to study so that you can be able to actually get a job and a good paying job at the end of your studies. Now, the last thing that people rarely talk about is the fact that you're actually supposed to do an attachment. In most cases, it's compulsory for you to do an industrial attachment during your 5 years, but the school normally does not look for that attachment for you. So you need to be proactive to look for the attachment by yourself, and sometimes if you don't get to do an attachment, you might actually miss out on graduation. So it's very important to know that if you're planning to get into the engineering course, start looking around companies that do your job. If it's environmental engineering, geospatial, mechanical, start looking around for companies, start networking, start getting to know people in this industry, so that by the time you get to the 3rd or the 4th year where you are expected to do attachment, you you already have contacts and you can easily get a place. When you get a place to do attachment, the other thing that people rarely talk about is the fact that you might end up doing jobs that are actually not in your field. You'll get an attachment as a chemical engineer, for example, but then they'll be sending you to do deliveries, to make tea, to write notes in a meeting, some of those things that you can easily just do without having to take up a whole engineering course. So it's very important that you yourself, you're proactive. If you get into such a position, try to see if they can help you to at least get the experience that you need during the attachment. And if they can't, how can you send yourself to learn on the job? Just observe, get to know what people are doing in the company. Send yourself to volunteer here and there. Be proactive and don't just wait for people to tell you or to assign you tasks, because they might actually just take advantage of the fact that you are on attachment and give you easy jobs that are not in your job description. So those are the 10 points I had for you today. I hope that you found them informative. Make sure that you share it out to other people considering to do engineering, so that before they embark on that journey, they're actually aware of what is awaiting for them. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.